जी।
So that was in the year, as Dilshad ji has said, that in 1996 I was working in a district which is called Jhabua. This is a very remote district, and at that point of time, it was the most illiterate district of the country. So at that point of time, in fact, I joined there in 1991, in the year 1991, and with the challenge that the literacy rates are to be improved. And when I joined there, so my commissioner, before that, I was working with central government in Delhi. When I came to Madhya Pradesh here, then I was told by my principal secretary that this is the lowest literacy district in the country, and you have to do whatever the best can be done to improve the literacy rates. So we were working for that, and at that point of time, there was a total literacy campaign all over the country which was started. That was somewhere in 93, 94. And in different ways, the program was somewhere in one way or other, it was going on. And best of the officers were put there, like collector and the SP and the district forest officer and all those SDMs. So it was while selecting them for this district, of course, they had their own other assignments as well. But since this literacy was a big issue at that point of time in the country, so it was thought that those who have got certain type of social commitments, so those will the people who will be posted in that district. So one of that time, the collector was erstwhile collector. I can name him now because he retired. So he was Mr. Manoj Jhalani. So for about 3, 4 years we were working. I was working for the primary education as well. There was a district primary education project which was funded by the World Bank, and as well as for the literacy. So that literacy is campaign was for the people who are of the age group from 14 to 35 years of age. That means those people who have missed the bus as far as the question of primary education is concerned. So those totally illiterate people, we had the challenge of making them literate. And what was the criteria of making them literate? Mostly it was thought that, mostly generally it was thought that those who can make their signatures, so they are literate up to that level. But Government of India, it had spoken about in the policy document about the three R's, that is arithmetic and reading and writing, and certain primers were introduced at that time. So those primers, there were three graded primers, they were to be taught. So one fine afternoon, I was asked by the collector that could I come to his home. I said, why not? So, and there was one assistant commissioner tribal welfare. That being a tribal area, there are lots of schemes of tribal department were running there. One was Mr. Azad. And I was asked by him that he said that the collector said that a friend of his is there, and can we both of us can go and talk to him. So we went there and had a cup of tea with him, and that person was related to the universal human values. So that was our first introduction, but that introduction was to the person and not to the UHV, not to the values. The gentleman asked us as to what we are doing. So as a government officer, we know that we think and we are very much convinced that we are doing something very unique. So I started telling him all kinds of things about the literacy, as to what we are doing about the literacy and what we are doing about um, the primary education as well. So it took me about, must have taken about half an hour or so when I explained whatever I was doing. And then he asked Mr. Azad as to what Mr. Azad was doing. I said that Mr. Azad was running lots of government departments, these tribal department welfare schemes. And most of the department schemes were implemented by different various agencies. So he spoke for about maybe 1.5 hours. So, and that's being a government officer, we blow our own trumpets. So about 2 hours we took in explaining whatever great work we were doing. So that gentleman asked us that, okay, what are the problems that you face? If you are doing so much and crores of rupees at that point of time were being invested in that district. So what are the results? So once that you come to the results, so of course we don't have much results to show, because if you start showing results, then the money also stops coming in one way. And secondly, because the funding agencies, because at that point of time it was World Bank and DFID. So they start coming and asking as to what has happened. So the progress is otherwise very slow, which they can always see that this is slow. And based upon that experiences, they also keep on funding. So we told that, okay, the results are not commensurate with the kind of funds that are being poured in. He said, what are the problems? Why it is not happening? So lots of problems, because the collector is the problem, panchayat is the problem, government is problem, MLA is problem. Leaving aside myself, the officer, everybody is a problem. So because we are investing each and everything, every energy into it, but there are so many problems. So we kept on telling about the problems. Then he asked me, gentlemen, okay, now tell me, if all those problems which you are talking about, once they are resolved, that means whatever bottlenecks that you have, you know the people as well as the material supply, whatever, if they go, then everything will be okay. Will be whatever you are want to achieve, that will be okay. You will be satisfied. The word he used was तृप्त, कि क्या आप तृप्त हो जाएंगे. So there could be one word for tripti. I'll ask Rajul ji to tell me what that
Will you be fulfilled?
fulfilled. So he
Yes.
asked whether it will be fulfilled. So that kind of question just jolted me, because what we were telling all the people, that if you become literate, so you'll become a good person, uh, you will be a law abiding person, nobody will be able to deceive you, you will be able to help others, all kind of things. But then when he said that, immediately it struck to me that, okay, the kind of education that one is talking about, that is only about literacy, basic literacy, even when it's maybe some class 2 or 3 standards. But as someone, who I was a postgraduate, so I thought that these kind of things, which is one is expecting from these travels, you know. So now once I have, I am a literate person. I have not carried those values. I do not have that kind of character. I am not able to defend myself against different kind of exploitation. I am not able to project myself as a someone who is really law abiding. So this is something very, hollow kind of thing, hollow kind of, um, message that we are giving. That was the first time then I was able to look at myself. Something similar might have happened to Mr. Azad also, the Deputy Commissioner. But that raised a very, very big question before me, that making a person literate itself, and my example was before me, not others, my own example was there. Making literate itself does not suffice. That was what, I realized it for the first time. Might have been somewhere deep within my side, but I realized that it won't do, it doesn't do. So I asked there was a resource person from Universal Human Values. I asked, what do you have to say? So, but because of certain limitations, at that point of time in that day, our conversation stopped. And next day, we were to visit a few places where watershed work was being taken by the government of India as the Madhya Pradesh government, where I was working. So we went about 60, 70 kilometers across, and I did show him, lots of water harvesting structures and all. And then we spoke to a few people also as to whether this kind of investment is there, will it help you? And people were not convinced of that, because whatever irrigation people were there with us and the panchayat people, but the people at large, those who spoke to us, they said that they've got their own kind of agriculture, their own kind of vegetation, their own kind of agriculture practices. So they said that it is all imported from Delhi, and these people, these fellows, what they want to do, they can do, but we have got our own ways, we have got our own issues. So when those were also not, they were also not convinced. And because I thought that I was also not convinced, as to what we are doing. Once these questions were put before me, I called all of my 12 block level officers, the literacy officers and the education officers. I asked them to come to my home because by the time we were returning, that would have been some 7, 8 p.m. So I called them, just do all of you come down and let us have a chat with the gentleman. So he raised certain very fundamental questions before us. By that time, he is not, we were just interacting. He was asking the questions and maybe we were replying. He said that why really this education is required, not in terms of literacy, but why education is required. Or in other terms, he asked that even if it is not there, he asked us that there are so many tribal people, all over the district, spread over all the district. What a purpose of a person can be as a human being, what is our basic purpose in life? So that was a tough question because for us the basic requirement was we should have some government good vehicles, some red lights, some driver, some chowkidar, etc., and some good salary and perks and all. But those are the things which you don't talk about. So we were a bit taken aback, but we said that okay, we want to be, otherwise we want to be happy with whatever materials we get. He said that okay, now with the materials that you get, or do you get the respect also? And whatever materials you get out of salary or out of perks, whatever you get, do you get satisfied with that, or you need more? So we said that okay, it is very less because somebody else is enjoying more power than us, and somebody else is again enjoying more power than he is enjoying. It was very comparative. We told him it's very comparative. So he said that if you want to be happy, whether you will be ever happy. So it dawned upon us that this way we can never be happy. So he suggested that means that you are going in for a very futile race. When after having studied so much and coming on to some government job, which is considered to be prestigious among the people at large, if you are not satisfied, then why are you putting all these, tribal people in this literacy thing? And otherwise, don't you think they are happy? And we thought that in fact, they were very happy. Every, they are doing whatever they are doing. They are living in certain huts, thatched huts, and drink something in the evening, and they are dancing, and they've got their own traditions, they've got their own culture. But we thought that these are tribal people, and they must become people like us. They must adopt the customs and traditions and culture of the urbanized people. And as urbanized people, we thought that we are not happy. And once we spoke to him, and he also exposed us to the fact that we can never be happy that way because that is a never-ending race. Then we asked him as to what are his suggestions. So we sat for another day also, and a few things which he brought to us was that happiness is something which everybody aspires for, and happiness is required for one's own self. While the material things like food and clothing and all these things, shelter and all, they are required for the body. And we were able to understand with these discussions that myself and my body, these are two separate things. And these two separate things, their requirements are also separate. And both the requirements of self and requirement of the body, both are essential. Not that one is not essential, both are essential. But the requirement of myself, own, the self, that is the most important thing. And the requirement of the body is something which is very easy to, achieve. Like we were discussing that, ant, cheetah, what we call the ant, smallest thing, what we normally see. An ant can, ant doesn't die because of hunger. Or the whale or the elephant, they don't die because of hunger. But the people are dying. About that time, there was a famine in Jhabua district. People, human beings are dying. How come that these are not dying, but we are dying? So it came to us, that dawned upon us in among the discussions, that we do not have the sort of cooperation, or we call the Sahastitva, neither with the nature, neither with the animals and the different, animals or living beings, nor with the human beings. That is something which was missing, one thing. Secondly, the basic issue was of the understanding. Our understanding of ourselves was not clear. What are our requirements? Those were not clear. Then the question of, myself, my body, and then my health, because health was also an issue with all of us, all the officers, so much tension, not achieving anything, having blood pressures and lots of things. Then the question of the family also came up. How much are we, um, what are our relations with the family, immediate family? Because at that point of time, I never remembered as to which classes my children were studying. I did not remember that. I did not know who their friends were. And, they were very afraid of me as I had been afraid of my father. And, it goes like that. So that kind of relations were also not there. And it was suggested that in any relation, the utmost importance is the trust, mutual trust. If the mutual trust is not there, then the relation does not exist, whether it is based upon blood relation or race or whatever. But if mutual trust is not there, then I just experimented. Um, Normally, when myself and my wife and my children at that time we were having jeep, so I used to drive, and my wife sat beside me, and the children they were sitting with the driver. I just thought that let me check. So I sat with my children at the backside of the jeep, and I asked my driver to, okay, you drive. So normally the children, they were always talking, laughing, and keep on going. But when I sat there, he was, Papa, you will sit with us. I said, yes, why not? Okay, okay. Then after a few minutes, I thought what to talk to them. I said, spoke to my daughter. Okay, how are you now? Is everything okay? She says, okay. I said, your friends are okay? She said, yes, Papa, they're okay. Then I spoke to, after a few minutes, I spoke to my son. Are you okay? He said, yes, I'm well. How are your friends? Okay. पढ़ाई ठीक चल रही है, studies are going well? He said, yes. We were going to some place called Megnagar, which was about 45 minutes. It should have taken time. And after 3 or 4 minutes, I did not have a single question to ask them. Then I realized that what kind of trust, these children have upon me. And I could ask this similar question to my wife about 3 years later. And I had to reform myself. So there, these things started. Then I asked the gentleman, as to we understood that whatever we are doing, it was just a farce and it was of no use, and just trying to create more, people like us. So then we asked as to what can be done. Then he suggested that maybe one could come up with a syllabus where we could talk about the human relations, we could talk about the humans, we could talk about the society, we could talk about the our relationship with the nature and the existence itself. So at 5 or 6 levels, he suggested that we have to, unless until we have, understood our relations at all these levels, the any kind of education per se is of no use. One thing. Secondly, the kind of education that we are having, you know, it's better not to have that kind of education, but because it carries you away from the realities of the life. And if the happiness is the only goal, then it carries you away from that kind of happiness. The more the proportion of the happiness with the literacy is almost inversely proportional. The more in the society, present day context society, more a person is studied, more degrees he has, the lesser happy he is. That is normally what we saw between the government officers because Jhabua was very. So then we came up with the syllabus, and it was syllabus of form, and it was called Sukhi Sakshar Abhiyan, that is Happy Literate Person Campaign. That was in Jhabua we started it, but unfortunately, after just a few months, I got transferred, and Mr. our collector at that time, Mr. Jhanani, also got transferred.
समझदार साक्षर अभियान.
Yeah, so thank you. That was Samajhdar Sakshar Abhiyan, correct. So then I moved to a district called Ujjain. So, Ujjain, again, that kind of issues came up, when I contacted the UHV resource persons there, I called them. We had lots of meeting, but Ujjain was all, full of the so-called literate people, very intelligent people, what you call intelligentsia, they could speak for hours on any topic. Jhabua, it was not difficult because you could talk to the tribals and they could say that let him talk whatever he talks, but they just sat there. But in Ujjain, nobody sat, they just keep on require, talking and talking and talking. But for 3 years, I tried to do it there. Then I got transferred to a district called Vidisha. So again, we started some experiments with primary education. The people from UHV came. We had some kind of success, but that takes again time because what the government, because unless until you reach at the government level, because and you are able to convince the people at the top, the kind of primers you have, the kind of education material you have, because the challenges before the teachers is to complete the syllabus first and show that their pupil, they have, passed out with such and such ranks and all. This was something, UHV was something which was not in a priority for the government. Then again, I got transferred to a district called Jabalpur. There also, I was the district education officer there. Then whomsoever I came in contact with, people from UHV, they came. We had a few workshops for 5 days, 7 days sometimes. Some people, they got convinced with the thing. They tried, teaching the students with this. Because literacy thing that after that, after Jhabua, literacy was not there. It was primary education and secondary education, which I was working. After that, I got transferred to a district called I came to Bhopal. This is the capital. So, being the district education officer, sent a few people to for these UHV workshops at different places. At that time, there was in IIT Delhi, there was a UHV Sammelan, and APJ Kalam was also there. Lots of people joined in. Then I went as joint director to some district and additional secretary to some board and all this. Every 2 or 3 years, the transfers were there. But then fortunately, I got transferred to the directorate from where all these activities take place. The syllabus is decided and the direction of the education is decided. When I came to the directorate, state directorate, there we started exploring as to how we can integrate it in the mainstream education. So in the way that it comes with the, it is implemented across the state, not, in a district somewhere. The good thing was that wherever I had worked and some people more, those people were always connected. And whenever we met or we spoke to each other, they asked that what is happening to the value education. We used to call it a value education. So once I was here, then we wanted to have some way as to integrate it with the education per se from the different levels. And at that time, we needed a proper vehicle through which we could, transfer it because the syllabus making people, those people who are creating the textbooks, it was very difficult, for us to understand, make them understand these kind of things, because it is always said by the people that values can be caught, they cannot be taught. That was always, that higher ups in Delhi also we asked, but they said no, values are to be caught, they cannot be taught. But we were working, and by that time, the ICT work was quite doing rounds, and it was going quite well. And I was also able to join a few workshops in IIT Kanpur and Triple IIT Hyderabad and other places. And some of our people were also, I took them with me, so they were also convinced. So at that point of time, fortunately, there was one Raja Anand Sansthan that was established in Madhya Pradesh. In that Rajanand Sansthan was just meant for the same purpose as to how to make the people happy, Anand, bliss. Different names can be there. We approached them, and fortunately, one of my friends he joined there as director, and we were already every 2 or 3 days we were sitting and talking about these values. He was able to convince the higher ups in Rajanand Sansthan that this is something about which we can work. So they started conducting a few workshops, and I was transferred to an institute called Institute of Advanced Studies in Education as director there. There I had lots of independence because nobody is coming, and they were. This was for the people who are doing their B.Ed, M.Ed, and PhD in education. Some 400 odd students, those who were teachers. So when I was there, I approached Rajul Bhaiya is there and Professor Ganesh Bagadi and lots of people. So I approached them and said this was the right kind of time that we could do something. So we carried on a few workshops for all these students. And we thought, and it was suggested to us that maybe we could try it in some school. So there was a school called Kamla Nehru Girls School. So we had one workshop where Rajulji was there full time. And sometimes our principal secretary, school education, she also came. There was lady, great lady.
Bhanuji ran that workshop.
Rajulji
Bhanu.
took the whole workshop. Rajulji was there, and it was decided that we should videograph it, the whole of the things and all the proceedings, and we'll have all the details with us. So it was a 5 or 6 days workshop, full time, and the students were of class 8, those who had come in class 8 because class ninth had not started at that time. And when we were in, when I was in ISE, at that time I was in ISE only, that is Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, we came up with the syllabus which was suited for the students from class 9 to 10th. So Upasana is there, the whole team is, Abhaji is there, lots of people were there. So there these textbooks were prepared, and the teacher handbook were prepared, and student workbooks were also prepared during that time, and those were tested with this in Kamla Nehru School. Thereafter, we also had one workshop in this CM Rai School, which was just by the side of that institute. So we thought that let us implement it with the all the staff, even the sweeper and the PNs and the accountants and everybody, including the principal. So whether it works that way, that not only the students but all of the staff as a whole, it can go in for this. That was also good. So when Mrs. Rashmi Shami that was there, principal secretary, she came and she sat there for about 3 hours. She interacted with all the students, and she interacted with the parents also. Parents also reported that the behavior of these students, these children, that had got lots of improvement was there. Right? That was, that can be a full study, and that's reports are there. Thereafter, it was with that experiment, it was decided that through Rajanand Sansthan, we will go in for expanding all these the UHV for the CM Rise schools and the models, the excellent schools, some 300 schools at one go, and thereafter Rajanand Sasthan took up the whole thing, and Mr. Argal, so Akhilesh Argal, he was a very senior officer of the department. He was a retired Indian Forest Services officer. He was the chief executive officer there. He and his whole team, Mr. Jashpal ji, Mr. Satya ji, and Gangarani ji, this team, they took over. So with the both these teams working, the school education team as well the Rajanand Sansthan. Thereafter, we went in for this in all these schools. We have got about 9,500 schools so far. I think we have roughly, I think 350 or 400 odd schools. About the journey about with the Rajanand Sansthan, I think Mr. Akhilesh Agal will be telling you more about it as to what kind of issues he has had and how he circumvented that, and the kind of successes that he has had. I think Mr. Agal will continue with that. I think I could close my things at that time. If there are any questions, of course, I'll be happy to take them.
Yeah, very, I would say, engaging journey that you have shared. That is nice. Uh, can you tell us about when you uh, selected this UHV? You must have also seen many other options. So, on what basis did you decide for UHV?
So, thank you for reminding that. Once the issue was taken up to the government, so it was decided that why take up the UHV only? Why not go in for all the kind of value education experiments that are being taken up all over the country? So a workshop was held, and Rajulji was there. And in that workshop, the people from Isha Foundation, people from Art of Living, people from Sahaj Yog, and IOC, the Initiation of Change. Some, I think, some 12 or 13 different organizations from all over the country. They traveled to Bhopal, and we were there for 2 days, and senior officers were there, and all of these were presented. And after the presentation, the Mr. Gautam was there. He was the additional project director. We and other officers were there. Of all these, the different presentations that were made, then the universal human values were selected because this was one system where no name was taken of any person. No religious, values were talked of, spoken of, belonging to a particular tradition, belonging to a particular culture. And it was realized that UHV is something which pertains to and connects to each and every human being of whatever age, whatever race, whatever caste, whatever creed. That was realized at that time. Some, I think, some 12 different officers were sitting at that time for these 2 days. I remember it was 2 days. The dates, etc., will be available with Rajulji. So that was the reason that we went for it. And even if there is a change in political party and all that, it was free from any kind of bias which could creep in with the name of values. That was the reason.
I mean, that was that was one of the main reasons. Yeah, that's nice. That is a very important point because we want to bring everybody together. We
Yeah,
have so many multicultural and such a multicolored country that we have. So everybody can come together. Yeah. This is running in now almost 39 states and union territories of India. So all political parties are in this thing. So that's nice.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're and people of all backgrounds, all creed, everybody is able to see that it is applying to them as human beings, not as this religion or that religion or this state or that state,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
as a plainly as a human being. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, okay, that is a good point.
That itself, testifies the, why this is effective. Because
Yeah,
otherwise it's very difficult. Myself also, when I was exposed to this thought, every person in India, every human being in India, he is exposed to. If he's belongs to any, he whether he's a Sikh, he's a Hindu, or he's a Baudh, other than Christian or Islam traditions, where you have got a certain book and certain person to be. Otherwise, the other lots they have lots of books to read and lots of people whom they are referred to, but in universal human values, there was no person was referred to. Whenever I was exposed to any thought, I first looked at the person, and when I looked at the person who was taken as authority, it became very difficult for us, to conciliate with him. That was a challenge. But in universal human values, there was no person, there was no single book. It was only it is started that don't believe what is being said. You just think of it. You decide whether it is right or not. That never happens anywhere else. They said everywhere it is started that okay, what we are saying, take it for granted, or that kind of thing is there. But here they straight away start it that don't believe in what is being said. You just examine it.
Yeah,
That is.
explore it. Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that this contradicts any of the teachings in the religious teachings that are there? Or is it something which is complementary and helps you to understand your own beliefs or own and fortifies those that are common beliefs?
See, during our own studies in middle level and this high school level, we are always taught that the basic values in all the religions are the same.
Yeah, truth, love, and compassion.
Yeah, they are the same, and we get to hear lots of stories also about that. So, but the issue is that when people, most of the time, people are judging others, and people are exposed to the different stories as well as the real time stories, and they start judging other people because of that. But we do not have any scale or any kind of theory where we are able to judge ourselves. The universal human values is one very unique kind of that way system where we get to learn, we get to study our own self. That is the most important thing here. And of course, it doesn't contradict any religion. And that way, every religion it talks about the different values which you have spoken about, Rajulji.
Where your mic is off.
So, yeah,
Namaste, Dhirendra ji.
yeah. So I was asking whether this criteria or this point you were able to see after you selected the UHV option, or was this part of the criteria that had been developed beforehand?
See, what I have found is that as and when we have spoken to any person in all this, maybe some 30 odd years, whatever, the initial suggestions or the proposals, they strike very, very deep into you. And every person, every human being, he is exposed to otherwise some kind of thought, some kind of faith, some kind of belief. Normally, he or she comes up with that. And within the person, again, the questions are always raised because what you see in the society or the people who are preaching, any religion or who have preached that religion, always those kind of questions crop up because we are taught of, seeing outside. But in UHV, there are other various methods also, meditation methods also. Takes a lots of time to meditate and come up with the answers. The question you have to raise the questions, you have to come up with the answers, and sometimes and most of the time they do not come. But Universal Human Values program is so effective that maybe from the almost the first hour itself, the things starts attacking your beliefs and whatever faith you have and whatever you have thought about. So that way, once it is done, it's very, very effective. The mode of transcending it, transaction is very strong and very effective. That is one. And secondly, uh, the most basic beliefs as a human being which you have deep situated between you, it never contradicts it. Initially, inside you feel, yes, that I want that also. I'm not able to do it is a different thing. But yes, I want to do it. I want to be like this and I want to, appreciate. I do appreciate and, those kind of people who are, who have those kind of values. So that kind of chord it strikes from the very beginning. That is the biggest thing.
Yeah, now, um, there are people who think that values cannot be taught in the classroom.
Yeah.
And even if you are doing something in the classroom, that has to be activity based and uh, all that, that it has to be experiential.
Yeah.
So, did you come across, I mean, how did you overcome this?
So, no, there is one English proverb. It says that what you do makes so much noise that I cannot hear what you say.
Yes, yes.
And most of the time it so happens. So the people who are made, I'm talking about the classes otherwise, in education system, most of the people who are, normally after class 8th, it is thought by the educationists that the whatever the stories and lessons that we have given about to the pupil, but the values now it is not required. So after 9th and 10th and onwards, it is board exams, and after that it is freedom for all. Meri marji, that it goes like this. That is one thing. Secondly, the teachers or the parents think that what they are talking, what they're telling the students or their children, they are not able to see what we are doing. But that is something a very false perception. So the most important thing happens with the teacher. You know, most of the teachers, not I'll not say that all the teachers, but most of the teachers, and the more a person is creating problems for himself and others, he gets faster affected and convinced with the UHV because he is rather in more pain than others. It is also a pain balm for the, excuse me. It is also a pain balm for the those who are suffering. So with teachers, those who undergo 1 day, 2 day, 3 day workshops, it is very effective. So most of the time they start correcting themselves wherever at whatever level they have got their problems, they start correcting themselves. And when they see that that correction is coming and that kind of recognition is coming from their family and their colleagues and other people, they get more enthused with this. And once the of course it takes time, the kind of perception that the students have created about the teachers or the parents, so that takes time to go. Like I told you that it took me about 3 4 years at my home itself, to come out of that trust deficit that I have had, and maybe it is still there. It takes time. So that way, it was not a problem. It is not really a problem, to convince the people. And a 1 day workshop done wonders with the UHV.
Nice. Uh, it's very nice to hear how you went about it. And were there any uh, coincidences that happened that you got support from the government to start and things like that?
Yeah, this one thing was the one thing. Thanks for reminding. We were doing, as I told you, being the district education officer and then in different capacities in joint director, whatever, different hierarchies. So we were always also working with the teachers and a few private schools also because it is easier for you to approach the private schools. So one of the private schools in Bhopal, a very, very, very prominent school was belonged to Billabong Group, and the chairman of that group is name is Mr. Nazim Jamal. They were very much impressed, and we had a few workshops there. Kumar ji had also gone there. Ganesh ji has also gone there. Some of the other resources had gone there. He was very much convinced, and what I told you that Mrs. Rashmi Arun Shami, who was the principal secretary at that time, and she came. She came because her children were studying in that school.
Yes.
And these, whenever she went for this parent-teacher meet, and she met the teachers and the principal and the director, etc., they told about this universal human values. So when I told her, my principal secretary, about this when she joined, he said, "Oh, this is about that Billabong school you are running." I said, yes, ma'am, there are lots of schools. Okay, okay, I've heard about it. Okay, I would like to meet the people. And before that, there was another principal secretary, Mrs. God, who
Deepti God. Yeah.
Mukherjee. So she was also, a bit involved. But when Rajul ji and Ganesh ji came to meet the present secretary, then Deepti Gaur Mukherjee, she is. So she was convinced of Rajul ji. She did not know about UHV per se, but she knew Rajul ji from her childhood as a very good person, because that also makes lots of difference. So that the contact in the sense that running a program already in a school where fortunately the principal secretary's children were studying, that made an impact because she was already positively inclined towards the program. That certainly did make an help. And then when she saw the results in the Kamala Nehru school, that was definitely very helpful. Thanks for reminding that. Your voice is not audible. Not audible.
Yeah. So these are indicators that we are doing something, but a lot of things happen by way of the existence. So नियति सहज विधि से होती हैं बहुत सारी चीजें. So that these, I mean, I wouldn't call them coincidences, but they are happenings which are instrumental. And then Iqbal Singh Bains ji also
Yeah.
was another one of that
Was forced
series.
forced to accept that he had no answers to the proposals that were
No, then he became so supportive. No? Then he became like a big support of this chief secretary
at that
as a
time.
chief secretary. Yeah.
And he also said that all of my support has gone towards you. I have no other option now to come.
That was his, I would say, his expression. But inside he was always, you know, very supportive. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt.
Yeah. So we have a very fortunate, you know, uh, collection of people in Madhya Pradesh somehow.
It is all because of the help that the UHV team at the national level has come up. Otherwise, I know that all some of the Upasana is there, Abha is there, you are there, Dilshad is there, Charan sir is also here. You know, so the kind of help and the guidance and continuously monitoring, that is most important thing. We are, despite being paid for as a job, we are not able to do it. So that is very 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 big help for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that the environment is ripe to take those things, and also as co-explorers, we are able to, um, share those things, and then it comes together.
True.
So that is what I'm saying. That it's so nice hearing from you, Dhirenji.
Thank you so much. Entirely.
Yeah, yeah. In the conference, we'll have, I hope, a lot more people will be there and they'll have questions. But in right now, if there are any questions from anybody, they are welcome. Charanji is there. Namaste, Charanji.
नमस्ते राजुल जी, नमस्ते धीरेन्द्र जी.
नमस्ते भाई साहब, नमस्कार.
नमस्ते 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 नमस्ते. Actually, with the example of what you have done at MP, we are consistently pursuing our ministry and in Rajasthan, and finally they have agreed to start it.
Yeah, that's a great news. I got it from different sources and something remarkably well that you have taken, and it is all because of the kind of position you have had, as Rajulji has it. Lots of people are from USU team because as I said that the examples that you people have already set in the different spheres wherever you have been working, that does a lots of wonders, when convincing the departments or the government officials that it is the right kind of program. You need a person of that.
So let's see how it has just started. What shape it will take, I don't know, but hope it will take some shape at least.
But
In
Charan sir,
governments,
Charan sir, I have
yes.
a request to make to you.
Thank you, sir.
No, I have a
We
request.
need.
I have a request to make to you.
Uh,
Please write a letter to our education minister and our principal
yes.
that as per the program that is being run in Madhya Pradesh, we are also running this kind of program, and we need, some kind of, if some kind of help can come in, because at that point of time, with the minister who was there, he came and sat twice in that our workshop, and the principal secretary was convinced, but the new people that they are there, they are not. If they come to know that something is happening, because something is happening in Madhya Pradesh, and that is being done in Rajasthan because of that, maybe, again they will get convinced about this. Whether people
Actually, yeah, I shall be proposing that there should be MOU between two governments to have to, and where the MP government can ensure that we will provide the proper help where handholding is required.
yeah,
So that will ultimately, actually, government people require a news. So that will become a news. Oh,
yes,
government has done this. So I know the behavior of those people. How if you silently do it, it's nothing. It's not. It's nothing to do. So what's special?
yeah,
When
maybe,
it become something one government is doing already, and Rajasthan government is generally following MP because that is consistently doing so many years good programs. So that become a news hour. And of course, minister wanted to have news. CM wanted to have news. Every politician wanted to have news.
correct.
So next step, I'm thinking of that.
Great, that would be great. Maybe your
Yeah,
minister, our minister and your secretary can talk to our secretary. And the letter is there, they
हाँ,
start inquiring कि भाई क्या हो रहा है भाई, हम क्या कर रहे हैं जो राजस्थान वाले कर रहे हैं. Then it becomes
हम्म, हाँ, ऐसा ही करने वाला है.
बहुत बहुत अच्छा रहेगा. तो मैं तो
जी
आपसे
जी.
बात नहीं कर रहा था इस बारे में. आप जब यहाँ पर आते हैं, बीइंग चेयरमैन ऑफ द एसपीए, तो प्लीज लेट मी नो, तो फिर मिलते हैं.
मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं आता हूँ मिलते हैं और
पता लगता है कि
बिल्कुल.
आप चले गए हैं.
हाँ नेक्स्ट. हाँ आप नेक्स्ट टाइम मिलते हैं बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. मेरी लास्ट टाइम इंदर सिंह जी जब मंत्री थे तब उनसे बात हुई थी.
हाँ,
पिछली बार तो अभी तो हायर एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर है.
एजुकेशन में, पर हायर एजुकेशन बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है.
हाँ हाँ वो एक बार हम एसपीए में भी ले आए थे उनको. ऐसा
हाँ,
ही प्रोग्राम चल रहा था वहाँ वर्कशॉप था उसमें हमने वर्कशॉप दिखाया होता हुआ कि आप आइए.
ओके,
हमने उनको चेयर पे बैठने लिखा उन्होंने नहीं बाकी लोग नीचे बैठते मैं भी नीचे बैठूंगा. वो
तो
भी नीचे बैठे हमारे साथ में.
नहीं, वो बहुत अच्छा है. हमारे यहाँ भी जब उनको एक्चुअली अखबार में खबर छप गई टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में कि ऐसा
हाँ,
ऐसा चल रहा है, तो विद्या भारती वाले लोग बहुत ही अलार्म्ड हो गए कि बिना हमारी नॉलेज के क्या चल रहा है. वैल्यूज कैन नॉट बी टॉट, दे कैन ओनली बी कॉट. तो
हम्म.
फॉर्चुनेटली खैर वो मुझे पता था, तो उन्हें सिंह ने फिर उनका फोन आया कि भैया क्या है, तो मैंने कहा साहब ये है, ये यूएचवी है, ऑल इंडिया लेवल पर है, और आप चलो देखो. बोले हाँ मैं चलूंगा, देखूंगा मैं, क्योंकि उनको पत्रकार आ गए उनके पास पूछने के लिए. फिर वो आए, बैठे 2-3 घंटे बैठे, भानु जी का चल रहा था, देनी से कि नहीं भैया सब ठीक है, बढ़िया है. तो वह अगली बार फिर आए वो. तो दैट वे वी हैड ए वेरी, फॉर्चुनेटली वी हैड ए वेरी गुड मिनिस्टर. अभी नए वाले नहीं हो पाए हैं. आपकी तरफ से यदि
हम्म.
आ जाएगा तो शायद इनके भी ध्यान में आ जाएगा. प्रोग्राम तो
ठीक
चलिए.
ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. जी जी.
Anybody else would like to uh, interact with Dhirendra ji? Hila ji?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to ask that time. My question is that when the work has been so good and it has been a journey, it has taken several years. So right now, while the journey was going on, like it's after so many years that Rajasthan government is looking into it. So do you see any reason why so many states which could have done it did not do it? Or was it that we require separate efforts, then only it will happen? What do you think about it from your experience?
As Rajul ji pointed out, that sometimes it is destiny, because here in Madhya Pradesh it is 3 decades. It is almost 3 decades. Now, fortunately, I was in a position where I could, influence the decisions. Fortunately, Charan Saab is there where he can influence the decisions. At that time, the triple IT director was there. You know, he was there, so he could take up. You know, that was also an accident. You might have heard the whole story when Ganeshji went there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everywhere you have a story, you know, and you have a person. So one person you need who is totally convinced about it. Wherever you get that kind of person, you know, and he's in some kind of place where he can influence the decision, or he can, you know, go to the decision makers. There it is happening, and of course, you know, it takes time to. Now he was telling me that it has gone to some 20 odd, 19 odd states and all, and it is AICT, and then the higher education. Now it is in school education spreading. So it takes a person, you know, a few persons, and some years of definitely some years of good, you know, work, because we were also able to because we worked for so many years in every district. There are a few peoples wherever we had gone. So once you go up with that kind of program, you know, people are there to support you. It's something, you know, which will take time.
Yeah, but this is still state level. But there is a lot of school education which is happening at the central level, which is applicable to all the institutes throughout the country. So, has any efforts been tried at the central level also?
See, Charanji will know, you know, because and it is all internal. Because at the school education level, everything is being, you know, taken up by the Vidya Bharati, and this is that values can be caught and cannot be taught is the, you know, language of the Vidya Bharati. In
I would say that because Vidya Bharati is very keen. They have uh, uh, asked for a monogram on human values. So I think it might be some individuals in any look, I mean, including Vidya Bharati, but the uh, uh, I mean, there are many circles within circles, so we have to see what it is.
Do I add something?
in the higher education,
But
Do I
this
add?
this is on the air, so we have to be.
yeah, I am not aware of whatever is happening at different levels. But in
Yeah,
higher education, we have Uच्च Shiksha Sansthan Vidya Bharati. There
right.
people are convinced. Here, a workshop had taken place in Bihar somewhere about a year ago, where they thought that maybe in teacher education that can be taken up. Now, Charan sir wants to, maybe something is happening at the Vidya Bharati level, it's good. But I want to add one thing. In Vidya Bharati schools, those kind of values they prevail. You know, they are most of the places they prevail at a good level. In public schools, it is not there. So when the Vidya Bharati says that they are to be caught and they are not to be taught, to some extent, you know, in within their purview, within their limits, it is okay. You know, but they are not aware of, you know, the big thing that is happening in public education. Charan sir.
Actually, if we go back to some earlier school education also, so values were automatically coming from family and then various practices at school and so on.
True.
Suddenly they disappear. We don't know when this where finally disappear, and now we are finding the results of this.
Yeah.
So all the schools of Vidya Bharati, they follow the earlier practices. Since
Yeah.
they practice themselves, so they feel that values are coming through their deeds, their work. So their approach is like that. At the same time, other organizations also there, they feel that everything in terms of value comes from, say, Udbodhan and preaching and giving good examples to the people. They are working on that basis only.
True.
So this is slightly different. Since this is slightly different, the people are not ready to accept in the first hand until unless they go in detail.
True.
So this is the real problem. Vidya Bharati is also now uh, try to go in detail about this. There some program or one of our resource person was assigned this task in their 5 days lectures. They asked us to give you 2 3 lectures about this. So they are also exploring this. But generally, people, not only Vidya Bharati, all the organization you see, those who are working in sometimes even this art of living, they people came to me this you have started value education in the current university. So, okay, let me come together and we will also give some lecture there, something like this. So they feel that giving lecture will give values to the people. So
Yeah.
this is the practice all over. In our culture, almost everywhere in India at least, giving preaching something, giving good examples of religion or good person and holy person, they feel that that will finally will work. But that is not working in the today's
I think Ilaji,
continuously.
So this conference that we are doing and the UHV training that is happening in institutions, that youth when they become leaders, I'm sure they will. We won't have to put too many efforts by that time.
Yes.
So this conference has more meaning from that perspective also.
Yeah. The seed may take a long time, but if the
Yeah.
seed is alive, then it will flourish. That is true.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We are supported very largely by Vidya Bharati in certain cases. So I would say that I would be, I'm grateful to Vidya Bharati for their support where they are giving the support. It is tremendous support also. So,
And actually, as higher education, it's a university to decide. So higher body does not decide. The UGC even they give the direct guidelines only. So even AICT gives the direction. It still university are not adopting that.
see,
AI,
through the these committees, AICTE has uh, not only remained as a, I mean, it has not remained just as a regulatory body, but it has become an enabling body.
AICT has clearly mentioned that's a mandatory course. Still,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know large number of the
I,
technical
I know,
limited
but
they had adopted it.
they are advisory in their sense. They're regulatory to some extent, but they are enabling. This is big difference between some of the other bodies and AICTE.
Yeah.
It is to AICTE's credit that they are uh, supporting the UHV team to do the enablement.
That is because of AICT that this adaptability is much better. That's
Yes,
only.
yes.
But
So
UGC has not taken that much stand.
yeah, UGC may
So,
take the stand later on, but
ha, ha,
what I'm
ha,
saying is that we must appreciate both Vidya Bharati as well as the ICT
ha. Vidya Bharati,
for
of course, supporting us, of course, at a higher level. But
yeah,
at least Vidya Bharati are doing their own way, but they are supporting this our move. Certainly, they are
yeah,
supporting. At
yeah,
number of places, they supported. They introduced our to the higher board, our senior people, apex
yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah. So we must
Even
appreciate
sometimes
that.
recommended also.
Yes. And one important thing is that, as Dhirendra mentioned, that we want to keep this universal rather than be aligned to any particular, anything particular, any person or any party or any government and like that. So it should be something that is like physics, that you don't have physics for, some XYZ kind of physics. Physics is physics. So the so values or human values are human values. They are universal. So those should not be colored by anything.
चांद सबके लिए सूरज सबके लिए
Exactly. तो ये कोई हमारा सूरज और आपका सूरज नहीं होता है.
हाँ हाँ
अब अपने पास समय भी पूरा होने वाला है. तो अ, सभी का धन्यवाद. Thank you very much, Dhiren ji,
yeah.
Charan ji, Ila ji, and all the delegates who have come. Dilshad ji has been here introduced. So Dilshad ji, you can close also. Dilshad ji. आपका वीडियो नहीं आ रहा दिलशाद जी. But anyway, आप please do the honors. Close the session. चलिए ठीक है. So we'll wind up over here. Thank you very much. Namaste to all.
Thank you.